Do you think that social media companies in general are doing enough to flag this misinformation that is very easily spread?
Yeah, well, that's what a challenge. You jump on social media and you can see, in a split instant, you can find all kinds of misinformation out there. So it's a sea of things out there. And the other thing is, what I see on social media may not be the same thing as what someone else sees. So they might be presented, because we have all these algorithms out there. So they may be presented certain things and not have the proper background. So we have to really look more closely at like how are people being presented information. Are they being presented information in a way that they can really access different types of information to verify things, or are they just getting a fire hose of stuff that's directed in a certain way? So we really need to kind of look more closely, because if you think about it, there's a big difference now. If you see something on a formal media like a established newspaper or established magazine that has a long track record, they're not going to be presenting stuff that hasn't been vetted or isn't being presented by like real experts. But when it comes to social media, that can be anyone. It's like listening to it's like going to a bathroom stall, looking at the graffiti and trying to determine how you're going to run your life based on what graffiti you see on the bathroom stall. It's pretty much equivalent to that if you think about it.
That's a good comparison there. But one social media platform has been in the news every day recently, and that's Twitter. You've covered Elon Musk. How has the spread of misinformation changed since he's taken over at Twitter?
Well, there's people who have indicated, and some people have been counting that, potentially the number or percentage of like hate speech or misinformation might have increased. A lot of this is anecdotal because it's hard to tell how many messages are actually out there. But there's been a lot of accounts that were previously banned for spreading misinformation on vaccines, misinformation on COVID, and other things that are now back on the platform. So Elon Musk basically had that situation where he said, okay, now we're going to bring a lot of these accounts back onto Twitter, and we're seeing they're back on and they're spreading the same type of misinformation that they've had in the past. So there is definitely more of that. And the other question is, what's happening with content moderation? Twitter used to have a content moderation, I don't know, division or staff or just a group that would do that, and it's unclear how that's happening right now. So anecdotally, it seems like the misinformation has picked up.
To your point, how can people then protect themselves?
So again, you should use the same principles as you would if someone were to come up to you and tell you something. So would you, when you're walking down the street, listen to a complete stranger telling you about something that you should follow or something about your life? The first thing you would say, hey, hold on a second, who are you? And what background do you have? It'd be different if you go to like a doctor's office and the doctor says, oh, you should change your lifestyle. You shouldn't eat this and you should eat this instead, et cetera. So then you understand, okay, it's my doctor. I trust the doctor. He or she has all these experience and expertise and background and credentials and things like that. But if it's a stranger coming up, then that's the first thing you want to ask, like, who are you and why are you providing me this information? What's your background? And then also, what's your support? Like, what information are you actually providing that support? And don't take that person's word for it. Can that person actually link it? Like, if that person said, "Oh, 3 studies showed this," well, show me the studies. Just give me the links to the studies. Where are they from? Are they from reputable scientific journals? Are they from major organizations and institutions? So look at that, and also just get a sense of what is the scientific explanation behind what the person is saying. You don't just kind of take things for face value. Explain. Tell me why you think this is the case, and provide me with a full explanation.
Bruce, I love that analogy. And going into 2023, should we expect to see more misinformation or less?
I think it's only going to get worse. There's going to be more and more information until more steps are taken to filter out or funnel or what have you this misinformation. Because if you think about it, the social media platforms are expanding. They have more and more different opportunities to get information. And if you look over the past bunch of years, it's only increased. So it's going to be a continuing problem. So until we deal with it as a society, now we have to treat it as a problem in society. So one of my colleagues and good collaborators, Peter Hotez, likes to call this, anti-science aggression. He says there's a lot of anti-science aggression out there where there's active attempts to really push a lot of misinformation and disinformation. So until we realize that it's a problem and it's a problem that our society has to deal with, it's only going to get worse.
So, in an ideal world, what steps could be taken to combat this then?
So one is help everyone, help all the public understand how to really vet a lot of this information. So if you think about it, and you go through, education and you learn all these different things, there might not be as many opportunities where you actually learn, well, how do I critically assess what I'm being told? How do I actually assess this stuff that's coming at me on TikTok and Twitter or Facebook, et cetera? We really don't prepare people to do that. So that's one. Two is better understand how this misinformation spreads and then really kind of adopt better ways of communicating the proper information, getting the proper information out there. I like to say that a lot of science many times is not really communicated in a fun way. So if you think about it, you see these videos on YouTube where people analyze like an Avengers trailer. Like they'll take like a 1-minute Avengers trailer and they'll analyze every single aspect of it. Oh, look, that person was wearing a glove. What does that mean? And those things like that. So people are interested in analyzing things carefully. So can we do the same thing when it comes to science? Can we do the same thing when it comes to medicine? I think our society is capable of doing that. We just have to kind of move towards that direction.
Bruce Lee, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.